Hey, it's Jackie, and this is the recap of Pretty Little Liars Season 5, Episode 21, Bloody Hell. The episode wasn't bad, but definitely not as good as last week's, if you ask me. There was no Toby, there was no Caleb, there wasn't even any Ezra in it. I really miss Toby and Caleb when they're not there, and I have no idea where Ezra got to. He hasn't been in the last couple episodes. So, do you guys know if he's, doing another job or something? Because I didn't think so, but I don't know why Ezra's suddenly just, not there all the time. Maybe so Aria can get closer to Andrew, I guess. But, I don't know. I think it's weird that, we haven't been seeing any of them. I wish they were around more. It's bothering me. Alright, so what should we talk about first in the episode? Well, Aria and Hannah find out that Hank Mahoney, aka Cyrus, was injured at the, what's it called? The car garage he was working at. And so they go to see him in the burn unit of a hospital, and he's really severely injured, bandages all over his body. And Cyrus thinks that what happened to him is not an accident. And so when Aria and Hannah ask him who did this to him, he writes out on a piece of paper, Varjak. At first they thought it said Carjack, but then they realized that it was the same name from Alison's passport that they found in her house. It's the reference to Breakfast at Tiffany's. And Allie had the passport that said Holly Varjak on it, in reference to Holly Golightly and Paul Varjak from Breakfast at Tiffany's. And so but they realize, Hannah realizes this actually, that Varjak is misspelled, which means that Cyrus must have met A, who they believe to be going by Varjak, in person, because if he'd only seen the name written down, he would know how to spell it. So they think that means that Cyrus knows who A is, because then they must have met in person. I really think that Cyrus's days are numbered now. I think that he could very likely die before the girls can go back and see him again, because I feel like he just knows too much. We did see after Aria and Hannah left that someone else sat up in there, someone who was trying to be a burned patient. So I really think that Cyrus is not going to survive. So, rest in peace, Cyrus. It was nice knowing you. But I just think he knows too much that A is not going to let him tell them any more than he already has. Everyone is saying they think this means that A is a man, but I don't think necessarily, because, well, all we know is that A is going by Varjak. We don't know they're going by Paul Varjak, or maybe Holly Varjak, like Allie was according to her passport. So I really don't think that confirms that A is a man. A could very well be going by Holly Varjak, just like Alison supposedly did. I don't really know now if that passport actually was Alison's. I think it could have been part of Mona and A's setup, and that maybe that means that Holly Varjak is what A was going by, and A is definitely a woman, and that's why that's the name on Alison's passport. I've been thinking really hard, trying to think if there's some kind of parallel between a couple on the show and Breakfast at Tiffany's. I've never seen the movie, but I read the description. I was trying to think of something. Wasn't it Ezra who told Alison that she was his Holly Golightly? I think, didn't they say that when they saw the passport in the Christmas episode? And Paul Varjak is a writer, and it said he only had one short story published. So I think that could definitely be a reference to Ezra. Maybe Ezra has something more to do with this. I mean, he was kind of off my A radar. I really don't think Ezra's A, but I think he could be the Paul Varjak kind of character. And I also thought back to this one tweet that Marlene did, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. It stuck out in my mind because she answered a question with a Gossip Girl reference. And now that's one of my other favorite shows. I've seen every episode. And I managed to find the tweet again, and someone asked her, could Cece and Bethany Young be the same person? And Marlene King simply replied with Chuck and Blair Forever. Now, they are characters who were on Gossip Girl, my favorite couple, actually, and I was so confused because I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know if that meant that maybe Cece and Bethany had been scheming together, or if, I don't know, Bethany lost her virginity to Cece in the back of a limo. No, not really. If you watched that show, you would get that joke. If not, you're probably really confused. But no regrets. And so, but I've thought of this because if there's anything I know about Blair Waldorf, it's that she loves Audrey Hepburn. So I started thinking about that, and because I was so confused as to why Marlene replied to that tweet that way. It didn't answer the question at all, it just was totally random. But I really don't know how Cece and Bethany would connect to this whole Breakfast at Tiffany's thing. So I thought I was going somewhere with this, but I guess not. Just showing you how my brain works. So I honestly don't really know who Breakfast at Tiffany's is referring to. I checked the Tumblr tag today and I saw lots of different things. Some people think that Paul Varjak is Andrew. Some people think that Holly and Paul are Ezra and Aria. Some people think it's Spencer and Toby. I just don't really know right now, honestly. I mean, Paul sounds kind of like Ezra. And, I mean, we know Alison may have been going by Holly, possibly, if that's really her passport. Maybe not, if A planted it there, which, I'm kind of inclined to think that. But Ezra did apparently call Alison as Holly Golightly. Maybe Ezra and Alison are supposed to be Paul and Holly. There's just so many different hypotheticals here. I really don't know for sure, but I have a feeling this movie is kind of important. I also think that maybe it could be a reference to Aria, because Holly in the movie is really worried about her brother, kind of like Aria is right now worried about Mike. Oh, okay, so speaking of that, well, Aria gets on Mike's weightlifting thing and it collapses on her, and Andrew comes to the rescue and tells her that if Mike had been on that, it would have crushed his skull because someone messed with it. And Aria, as she sits there with Andrew tending to her foot, she starts crying, and it's obvious from the way she's looking at it, she's thinking about Mike and everything that's going on. And I felt really bad for her there. Like I told you guys, I'm not a huge Aria fan. She just doesn't really do anything for me, but in that moment I really felt for her. Then her and Andrew kissed and it just went away. Why is everyone kissing someone who they should not be kissing while they are in a relationship? At least with Spencer and Johnny, you can kind of argue whether or not it was cheating because, she didn't initiate it and she kind of just stood there, so you can kind of argue, well, she didn't initiate it, so it's not cheating, or, well, she didn't do anything, so it is. But with Aria, she seemed pretty into that kiss. I'm not really sure. Are Aria and Ezra still together? Because they're not really talking, and they were thinking about taking a break. So are they together, or are they not together? Who really knows? Personally, I really don't care that much. I kind of just would like some clarity, so I know that for sure. When is Ezra coming back? When is he going to be in another episode? I think he's going to be in next week's, but I didn't check before I made this video. Probably should have done that. I really don't know when he's coming back. I think that's all for Aria's storyline. I am really sick of Talia. So apparently Talia is breaking up with her husband, and Emily, oh so conveniently, has an extra room at her house because her mom's in Texas. So she tells Talia that she can stay with her. And I just really want Talia to go away. If you watch the episode, you know that the woman from the pageant told Emily that there could be some concerns about her competing since she is friends with Alison. And so Talia just low-key threatens her, saying, well, it would look so bad if people found out. Maybe you should send her a check. And I just have a feeling that Talia really just screwed it up for Emily there. I don't think the woman's gonna do it now. I think she just screwed Emily over. Not intentionally, but I think she did. I don't know, I'm just sick of Talia. Do any of you guys like Talia? Do any of you, like the relationship between Emily and Talia? I'm just really sick of her. What is she even doing here? She should just, leave. Bye-bye, Talia. I'm really sick of you. What's your point? And so, Mrs. Hastings gets, via Wren, which is random, she gets Spencer an interview at Oxford and sends her to go stay with Wren and Melissa in London. So Spencer goes to London and Wren and Melissa aren't there, but their flatmate, Colin, is, who I recognized from Glee. Yep, before he was never heard from again. And they said that Wren and Melissa had been visiting Wren's boss or something like that in Kent. And I don't know if that's really the case, possibly, but you never really know. The two of them are kind of sketchy. Like, I've always thought that something was up with Wren. He just, like, he seems to be pretty interested in underage girls because he had a thing with Spencer and then he had a thing with Hannah. I don't really know what his deal is. Like, I've kind of always wondered what his relevance as a character. Like, is there something more to him? And Melissa, she says that she's been trying to protect Spencer, but I'm kind of confused because, in earlier seasons, she really wreaked havoc on Spencer's life, so I don't understand how that was for Spencer's benefit. Like, I want to believe her, but I'm also kind of like, how exactly does that work? Because some of the things she did to Spencer, I don't understand how that was protecting Spencer. She made it seem like she really hated her sister. So I don't really trust the two of them. And Spencer goes to her Oxford interview, and there's blood, A claims it's blood in her bag. Which implies that A got it in her bag while she was in London because she got it through the airport security. Yet, Marlene King says there's only one A right now, yet somehow A was in London with Spencer and back in Rosewood with the other girls. I'm not really sure how that works. I really still think then that A must have at least one henchman, or at least have hired someone to do it. That could be a possibility, because I don't know how A could be in all these places at once. Doesn't really make any sense to me. And, there was really no more mention on the Spoby storyline. Spencer says at one point, you can only get Toby's attention through a police scanner, which a lot of people are comparing to that night that Alison disappeared and Bethany supposedly died, when Melissa says on the phone to whoever it was, we still don't know, what do I have to do? Call 911 to get your attention. So some people now think that Melissa was talking to a cop, which could be possible, because, call 911, get the police. So, I don't know who that would be. Could be Wilden. I think Garrett was there. Holbrook, maybe? Maybe they have a past. I really don't know. This is all just so much to think about. So, that could be a possibility now. You see that parallel between those two things. And did Spencer do anything else noteworthy? I don't really think so. She just kind of had a little freak out. Oh, and then Mrs. Hastings. She was looking in Alison's file and she saw something, we don't know what, that made her call Spencer and tell Spencer to stay in London. My first thought was that she saw something that made her want to have Spencer keep an eye on Wren and or Melissa, but it also could be because she's worried for Spencer's safety if she returns to Rosewood, so she wants Spencer to stay away. I just really want to know what Mrs. Hastings saw. Like, come on, Mama Hastings, tell us what you read that shocked you so much. Hopefully we'll find out next week. I would really like to know. Alright, then that leaves us with Alison. Alison did sort of apologize. She told Hannah that now that she has no control herself, she feels bad for bossing the girls all around all these years. Do I totally forgive Alison? No. I really don't like Alison. She's my least favorite character. I feel like if she acts apologetic, then I could not like her, but not hate her as much if she shows remorse for her actions, because she hasn't yet, really. And I feel like if she improves and does the right thing from here on out, that would kind of, not make me like her, but make me hold her a little higher than I do. Because right now I really don't have any respect for Alison. I feel like she always kind of protects herself before everyone else. And maybe she does care about the girls, but she's always put herself first. And I feel like she has to show that she's sorry for the things she's done to people and that she's going to be better. And only then can I start to not so strongly dislike Alison. And this bothers me too. How A got to Alison in jail. I mean, a lot of people are saying now, oh, Toby's A because he's a cop, he can get into prison. Even if A is a cop, I don't know how they would have access to anywhere in that prison. Like, I would think that you would just go in, do what you have to do, and then you'd get out. Like, I don't really think a random cop is going to get free range of a prison without some kind of reason. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me how, A can get down to the prison laundry room without anyone seeing and write in the dust on the table. That confuses me. So, unless A is another prisoner or a prison guard, it really doesn't make any sense. But then again, like I was saying, A probably could have hired someone on the inside. That is definitely possible. The A ending scene, we see A putting $20 bills into Bibles, the prison's Bibles. And a lot of people are saying this points to Andrew being A or somehow affiliated with the A team because a $20 bill has Andrew Jackson on it. I do not think that Andrew is A team, at least not at this moment. Could he possibly maybe be hired by A to do something and maybe he doesn't realize fully what's going on? Yeah, that's possible, but I don't think he's an A-team member. He really doesn't have a motive, but he could have possibly been bribed or blackmailed into doing something for A. That is a possibility, but I feel like he is not totally a bad guy. I don't think he is A-team material, really. Plus, he's such a minor character, I don't think he's going to be A-team. All the A-team reveals we've had so far they were pretty important characters, at least a major recurring character. So, yeah, I don't think Andrew is going to be evil, at least not in this point in time. I guess that kind of goes back to the A having people on the inside thing. Maybe that's why A is leaving that money. I'm really not sure. I did write down the Bible verse that A was putting them all on the same page. It says, "Vengeance is mine and retribution. In due time their foot will slip. For the day of their calamity is near, and the impending things are hastening upon them." So I think that shows that A is definitely out for revenge, but that seemed like, we all agreed on that. A definitely was scorned in some way, and they are getting back at these girls for something terrible they did to them, or they believe that they did to them. Like I said before, I don't think it's simply because Alison used to bully them or something like that. I don't think that's a strong enough motive. Because lots of us have been bullied and we don't go this far. And the foot will slip is also interesting because in this episode, Aria fell and hurt her foot. So I don't know if that means something, if maybe Aria is going to be the next target. I don't know. I'm also a little concerned for Mike because Cody Christian is going to be on Teen Wolf, apparently, and A seems to be out for his blood. I was thinking, how sad would it be if Mona ends up being alive, but Mike dies before she gets back, and then she shows up, happy to see the girls, and she says, "Oh, where's Mike? I need to see him." And then the girls just stand there, and they don't say anything, and Mona realizes that Mike is dead, and she never got to say goodbye. How sad would that be? Alright guys, well, tell me what you thought of this episode. Please leave a comment. I will reply to everyone. Again, if your replies aren't turned on, I can't reply to you. To check to see if your replies are on, just hover over the comment. In the top right corner, a little arrow will be there. Click on the arrow, and if it says enable replies, click on that, and I'll be able to reply to you. If you don't do that, then sorry, I can't answer you. So if I don't reply to your comment, it means you don't have replies turned on. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching!